Hi everyone, welcome back to Well with Joy. I am Joy, and today I'm going to be talking about how I plan on moving into my 50s. I am past 50, I'm 52 years old, but I want to talk to you today about what I'm doing to maintain my health and to maintain the way I live my life right now as I move into menopause and into my 50s. So if this sounds like something that you may be interested in, stick around. So let me begin with, I am 52 years old and I have been trying to address my health for the last several years in the way I live, to learn about biohacking, the best way to create a life full of longevity and health. So I'm going to share with you what I'm doing, what I feel that's helping me to experience these years in the best way possible. Now, let me begin with saying, yes, I'm 52, but I have not experienced any symptoms of menopause. Some people would say because I'm 52, I'm at least in perimenopause, but that's just a term that someone came up with in the 1980s. It's not a real diagnosis. So let's just say I haven't experienced any symptoms of the regular symptoms that we think of as menopause. Now, I know growing up, I had aunts, I had a mother, I knew of women that went through menopause in their later years, and I was always told, there's things that'll happen when you start the change. And what would it happen? You'll gain weight, you'll be moody, you'll act crazy, you'll have a hard time sleeping. All these things that might happen to you or are expected to happen to you, I've come to realize that through my research and through learning things, that these, just because people expect them, doesn't mean they're always going to happen. And it doesn't mean that menopause is the cause of them. What actually is the cause of most of these things is a hormonal imbalance. So trying to keep my hormones balanced and doing the best I can do to maintain my health is what I plan to do as I move through my 50s. And what I want to do here is share with you what I'm doing, what I'm finding, what I'm researching, and what I'm experiencing as a 52-year-old woman moving into menopause. Now, I am a mom. I am a wife. I have given birth to 9 children, and I still have an 11-year-old home. I'm still a mom, very much so. But I have 7 grandchildren, so I'm also a grandmom. I have a busy, full life that I have to live, that I get to live every single day. And so the things that I've put into place and what I do to maintain my health, I find is so important, and I believe has helped me experience the joy, the energy, the focus, and the mental clarity that I experience now every day. I don't feel defeated, or I don't feel like I have no motivation. I feel very motivated, very full of life, and very excited every day that I wake up. So I'm going to share with you. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is, so the first thing, I got the right list now, I want to talk to you about is the fact that I remain active. Yes, I am 52, but I am so active. Very rarely do you see me sitting down. There are a couple of times during the day that I sit down, and those involve if I sit down to a meal, and that isn't every day. And then the other thing is when I get up in the morning, the first thing I do is I sit and I have my time with God and I pray. So those are 2 times during the day that I sit, or if I'm attending church, I'll sit. But sitting down on the regular every day, I do not do. I make sure that I'm always moving, walking around, lifting something, doing something. I'm always using my muscles and my joints. I'm always moving around. The next thing that I would talk about is diet, what kind of diet I follow. Now, I have been following a low-carb ketogenic diet for years, and I feel the best there. So I get a lot of animal products, a lot of meat, and I make sure that I have a lot of healthy fats. Our body needs fats. Every cell in our body needs cholesterol to run and to be able to function properly. So I make sure I get that. And meat, protein, I make sure that I get enough protein through my diet, which is my goal is 100 grams a day of protein. Just because maintaining your muscle mass and protecting what you have and maybe even growing muscle you have to have enough protein for that. Because after 40, after 50, your muscle starts to deteriorate, starts to break down. I make sure that I get enough protein to maintain my muscle. Plus, being active, using those muscles every day, my body isn't going to break down what I'm using every day. So I make sure if I have to pick something off the floor, I squat. Or I do push-ups on the counter, push-ups on the floor. I'm carrying laundry baskets. I'm cleaning around the house. I'm lifting kids all the time. So I'm using my muscle. And as long as I'm eating enough protein and using my muscle, I don't worry about losing it. Lifting weights, I also know is important. And that'll probably be coming right along here, that I'll be adding that into my life, into my weekly routine. Hasn't started yet, but that's probably coming from all the studies and reading that I do, how important it is. That'll probably be coming. But right now, making sure I get enough protein is so important. And carbs, I very rarely eat carbs. I have taken them almost completely out of my diet. I do not. Vegetables are something, I know. Everybody says you need vegetables. My studies and what I found is you don't always need vegetables. And most vegetables aren't good for me every day. Sometimes I have them. Sometimes a lot of the time I don't. It works for me. It's what keeps me happy and keeps my digestion right. And so that's what I do. Very low vegetable, hardly ever at all. But when I do want a vegetable or I do want a big salad, I enjoy it and I have it. That's how I follow my eating. I make sure I get enough sleep. It used to be I needed 8-9 hours sleep. Well, now when I started to follow a low carb ketogenic diet and started to fast, I noticed I needed less sleep. So I make sure I get 7 hours of sleep a night, and that is perfect. That's all that I need. I can function all day. I do get up at 3:30. So after those 7 hours, I can go until 7, 8 at night when I decide to go to bed, and I feel fine. I have enough energy, enough rest. Even some days I will wake up an hour earlier and think it'll be 6 hours sleep. And it's like my body's like, okay, you've had enough sleep. It's because once you start eating low carb or eating what your body needs and fasting and letting your body rejuvenate and do the things it's supposed to do without food, your body becomes more efficient. And so lots of times people find that they need less sleep. And that's what I find. Being in ketosis from fasting and eating a low carb diet, I need less sleep. And I just love that I don't need much sleep, because I love my time in the morning when I get up to be alone, to do my prayer, my journaling, my Bible, all those things that are so important. Now, I did say that I fast. I do fast. And right now what I'm working on, or what I'm trying out, is the 1 meal a day. I was doing alternate day fasting, and sometimes I do throw a day in that I don't eat at all, but 1 meal a day, because it just seems to work very well for me to go all day. I've been opening my window with like a protein shake, so I get enough protein in, and then I have 1 meal of meat, maybe a little veg, but mostly meat products and a fat, to help me feel full and satisfied. And I could go the next 23, 24 hours without hunger, without worrying about anything. I do close my window usually with some therapeutic ketones that I'd shake up every day. And that just helps me fast longer, focus, plenty of energy, and just feel good appetite control while I'm during my fasting hours. That 1 meal a day seems to really be working out for me. And the thing is as we get older, we aren't eating to develop or eating to grow. We're already where we're supposed to be as far as growing. So we have cell regeneration that we need to eat for, but as far as eating so much to grow, we don't need to grow anymore. So I like to eat enough to maintain, and I just make sure I have my calories figured out from an app that I use, and I just make sure that I stay under the calories to maintain my weight, because I still have some fat I want to lose. So I'm working on that. I get that in that 1 to 2 hours of eating window that I have, and I feel great and I have energy for all day. So I really love this 1 meal a day, and that's what I'm doing right now. That's what's working for me, and I will share through my journey as I go, through Facebook, Instagram, my stories, and let you know just how well that's working for me. But right now, it is working so good. Exercise. What do I do for exercise? Well, it's so important, like I said, to stay active. And what I do is I make sure that I get my 10,000 steps a day. I walk around the house. I take extra trips up and down the stairs or up and down the hall, whatever it is. And if I don't make my 10,000, then I go outside and go for a walk to make it up. But I try to get at least 10,000 a day, because studies show that increases longevity. It helps with so many health markers, and they've shown studies. So I make sure that I get at least 10,000 a day to maintain my health. So I'm being active. Lots of times when women in their 50s, when they start to get to the age of either retiring or they're empty nesters, they start to lessen their activity. And I think it's so important to remember that you're still human, you still have a life to live. So we want to make sure that we stay active, and that's one of the ways to make sure. So I make sure I do that. I do some push-ups, I do some squats, because push-ups help with upper body and building muscle here. But also squats, they're using the biggest muscle of your body. And when you do that, you are really helping to build that muscle up, which helps to maintain muscle. That the biggest muscle of your body, which you want for your metabolism and just to help you stay stronger and protect your bones and stuff. Water and electrolytes. I make sure that I have enough water throughout the day, 64 ounces or so. That's what I have 64 to 120. I go back and forth. Depends on what I want, but I drink when I'm thirsty. But it usually says I usually fill like one of my Stanleys, 1.5 of those a day. And that's what I drink. And I make sure I get my electrolytes in. And now electrolytes are something that's very, very important for all your systems to run. It helps with hunger. Sometimes when you're fasting and you get a headache, what it is your electrolytes are off, or you're not feeling good, or you're a little brain fog, that's your electrolytes are off. So I make sure that I take electrolytes daily, once or twice a day. I use the unflavored during my fasting hours, but during my eating window, I will try the ones that are flavored. Now I use the ones from Prove It, which are Mitoplex, but I also use Element. I love the Element ones, and Redmond Relight. I love those too. So those are all good electrolyte supplements. So you can try whatever you want, but make sure that you're getting electrolytes in, and make sure you're salting your food. I actually add salt to my black coffee, to my water, mineral salt, because that helps to maintain your electrolyte balance. And sometimes when we're low carb or fasting, we start to feel a little sluggish, maybe even nauseated or have a headache, and it's because you have low electrolytes. The other thing that I make sure that I touched on before is I have prayer every morning, prayer and journaling and spending time with our Lord. I pray my rosary every day. I read my Bible every day. I do a Bible study, and then I journal, and I also read books, because making sure that our spiritual health and our mental health are taken care of is so important. So I read books to gain knowledge, to have my brain just absorb things so that I'm continually learning. Even though our bodies aren't growing, our brains can continue to develop and learn new things as we get older. We have a lot of wisdom there. And so, but we want to keep it sharp, and we want to make sure that we're not letting it get tired and rest and start to forget things. Keeping something active helps to keep it healthy. So that's why we keep our body active, and that's why you have to keep your mind active, and that's why you have to keep your spiritual life active to keep those things healthy. One of the things I've learned listening to some talks on menopause and going through this time in your life is some people think that my life is over. It's the dreaded change, it's the dreaded menopause. And I would like to say that we need to look at this differently. Menopause just means we are no longer fertile. We're at a different stage in our life. We're not in the stage of giving birth and being fertile and having babies. We're in the other stage, the new stage of nurturing those behind us. As a mom and as a grandmother, I still have things that I need to do. I need to pass on my wisdom and how I take care of my health and how I take care of my soul to my children and to my grandchildren. We have so much to offer, and our job is not over and done with. We are still called. Our life isn't done because we've hit 50 or 52. I know every morning I wake up and I'm motivated knowing God still has something for me to do. And it's my job to discover what that is and to keep walking towards that. Because if I've got breath in my lungs and if I can still fog a mirror, I have a purpose. I have something I need to do. And the only way I'm going to be able to fulfill the purpose that God gave me is if I take care of my body and take care of my health and my nutrition, my spiritual life, my mental capacity. I need to take care of it, because that way I am not only honoring God, I'm honoring my body, but I'm also honoring the family and those who are coming after me by being able to give them and share with them what I have. And we have to stay well to do that. We have to protect this body that we have. So as I move into menopause, whenever, I haven't had any symptoms yet, just waiting. And what I've learned is those symptoms menopause doesn't mean you will absolutely have those symptoms. Those symptoms are because of some kind of imbalance. You look at, there's people in their 20s that have hot flashes. There's people in their 20s and 30s that gain weight. It doesn't mean it's menopause. It means that something's off. So my goal is to stay as healthy as I can to help keep those symptoms, those unwanted symptoms at bay. And all the research that I've learned is low carb, fasting absolutely reduces those symptoms or completely takes them away. So I'm doing the right thing as far as that goes. If I need to do some tweaking or I need to do something beyond that, I will. But right now this is working for me. And my goal here is to just keep going through these things that I do every day, the exercise, the way I'm eating, my fasting, what I do each day, to take you along so that you can see and learn maybe something will work for you. Maybe you can tweak something, change something to help give you relief or help you to focus and move into this second half of your life with joy and with enthusiasm and just motivation. Just keep going and keep offering the world what you have. That's what I wanted to talk with you today about, and I will continue on with videos like this. If there's anything specific you want to know about or you want to learn about or whatever, drop it in the comments, and maybe I'll make a video about it. I'll try to do what I can do. I am not a doctor. I am not a healthcare professional. I am just a mom who's 52, experiencing life and learning and discovering and trying out some things that I think are worth trying. Biohacking, my health, doing so many great things and so many wonderful things, and I just want to share them with you. So please subscribe so you can follow along, like this video, thumbs up, and share it if you think that there's somebody else who would benefit from it, and follow along. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.